Welcome to Oh Brother, the podcast of three brothers trying to figure it all out, with your hosts Brandon, Colin, and Aaron. On this week's show, have Goose must use.
Ahoy!
Ahoy!
How is it going?
It's definitely going pretty good, actually.
How do I sound?
How?
Distant?
Try that again.
Hi, how do I sound?
Oh, that's better.
Okay.
Well, you said, how do I sound in the middle of moving something? And so I didn't know. Uncertain.
Sorry about that. Yeah, I'm adjusting things and stuff.
It's all right. It happens.
Yes.
So I just wanted to make sure I heard you again before I gave you an answer. Right? If you... You didn't make it worse.
I appreciate that.
No, I mean, wait.
What?
Looking out, you know.
Yeah. I am recording in a
professionalism that you can expect here.
Yes, that's all. That's all it is. It's professionalism. Me adjusting my microphone while on the call. Of course, it's perfect. What else? What could possibly go wrong?
Yeah. So where are you?
Can you hear? Can you guess?
No, I can't hear.
Okay. Can't hear anything.
Background noises.
Oh man, I was hoping I could capture some of the birds, but unfortunately,
the
ambiance of the birds on a back deck near the woods. Yes, recording outside. Thought I would do that.
Well, hey, look at that.
So
out of doors,
because nobody's ever done that before. That's the nice part about it.
No, never. This is the first time.
So we'll see how this goes. If it becomes untenable.
That's right.
I don't have any rain above me, so I've checked to the left and to the right.
That's the most important. It's the most important part of this scenario currently is it's not raining. So
yes, although it was earlier. Good. My goodness,
was it really?
Oh. Yes, it was.
It must have skipped it. It must be some isolated stuff today because we got nothing. So like, as far as I know, I was just inside toiling, just faffing about all day. So I don't think
we had a lot. It was like a sudden burst of rain where it was like I was driving on the road, and then all of a sudden it was one of those wonderful moments where it was still light out and sunny, and then it was torrentially downpouring while it was sunny, which means there was lots of glare and you could not see. And then
everyone's favorite.
Yes. And I was like, I'm gonna slow down by like a lot right now.
That's a good plan
and help.
Good job.
Thanks. I thought, you know what? I says to myself, self, slow down. I did. And
good job.
Pretty much.
As we know, the number one rule of driving is to not become smooshed. And so that's sometimes slowing down is what you need.
Well, I don't know if it's the number one rule, but it's definitely the number one goal
of
true. Driving.
Okay, maybe not rule, but it is a goal. Maybe I should have said that.
Yes, that's the number one goal. Oh man. So yeah. We'll see how this goes. I just wrote a blog about the cautions of using retractable leashes as a dog owner. So that'll come out tomorrow.
Exciting.
Yeah. So we'll see what kind of hate mail we get from that.
You know what? Here's my guess. Based on what I know about you, not a fan, right? Correct.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Here's my hot take.
Okay. As a person, as a former dog owner, rest in peace, Chuck Root. I would tend to agree with you because it just makes things unwieldy, in my opinion. Right?
that is a word I did not use in the blog, but that's a good word.
Edit time, right?
Uh-huh.
Ghostwriter here. It feels unwieldy.
Yeah.
Me, right. It feels like, not that Chuck was a particularly ambitious dog, right? He's not like running about, because running is not a thing that small spaniels do. But like he would mostly do like obstinate things, like, no, I'm going to smell this flower for ever and ever.
Yeah.
And ever. And or just like whatever. And so like the retractable thing just like makes even like little things like that very unwieldy, right? You're not like, you feel sort of like disconnected to the dog, I think. Right. Whereas we just had like one of those just like normal leash. It looks like a piece of climbing webbing, whatever that stuff is. It's just like, it was just that. Like, it was like $8, right? $10, whatever. And just that little thing. And like, I never even held it like in the loop. I just sort of held it in the middle. Again,
sure.
Not a rambunctious fellow.
Yeah.
So like, he didn't really need to go over there, but like wherever he went, or if we were at the time of the walker was like, okay, now we'll let you sniff around the yard, I'll just follow you. It just makes it easier to be like attentive, I guess, because they're not like way over there doing who knows what.
Yes.
Like getting tangled on things, you know what I mean? Like having it just be right there is easy to be like, oh hey, boom. Like, I don't know. That's my thoughts as a dog. As a recreational dog walker, not a professional here. Just have walked dogs before.
Well,
so that's what I would say.
Well, so yes, here's, before we get the hate mail, if your dog is well trained in recall and you are in
hate mail, oh no,
and you are in a wide open space with nothing about to get tangled on or for other people coming upon you, sure, go for it. But the 120-pound Rottweiler being walked by the 14-year-old on a busy sidewalk, no, people, stop it. It's not. It's not okay.
Okay, yeah. So that's the other thing, right? That it was not relevant to me because my dog was like tiny, right?
Yeah.
He was a small spaniel, like 12 to 15 pounds, But like, so if he pulled, it's like, that's cute, right? Like, oh no, where you think you're going, little buddy, yeah, right? But if you have a golden retriever and it wants to go over there, I don't know if I trust the brake system in one of those little things, right? Like to make him not do that. Like that's a lot of points of failure.
Yeah.
Right? That mechanism, the spooling mechanism, that is a lot of points of failure. And like, even if like the majority of the time it's fine, there's gonna be a time where it isn't fine. And it's just gonna like give out. Because like if you're, your Labrador, like this is not even a notoriously aggressive dog, but Labradors are big. Yeah. Right? Like you think lab, you think, oh, they're just cute little. No. The dog is huge, right? If it wants to go over there, it will, right? Like it's just gonna go. And I don't know if I trust a thing like that to not just like break. You know what I mean? The plastic and the little spring and the spoolie. Like I've never heard of this happening.
I've had it happen to me.
I bet. But like I haven't had it. Again, my dog was small. So like if he would have pulled, it would have been like, come on. Wait, right.
Like, well, and again, here's the thing. Like, what happens to these things? Are they are their leashes? Are they well cared for? Are they well maintained? No. And what happens to plastic when it gets old? It becomes brittle. What happens to rubber when it gets old? It gets dried out. I've had one in my hand where. And the other thing is the reaction time. Is you think you have a lot of reaction time to put your thumb on the trigger, but most of the time your thumb isn't or the button right on the stop. Most of the time,
it's
you're
not like poised over the edge.
It's
right?
not
like,
poised over there. It's down on the grip and further down, and not worry about. You have to reach up and find it, and by that time, that dog has bolted 7 feet forward, and you with a lot
more,
of
right,
a lot of,
like
or more with a lot of what momentum, right? Mass times force, right? Like we're getting a lot of momentum coming along here, and you try and stop that with a little sudden break. It's you are going to go forward, or that thing will shatter, and that's what happened to mine. The coil spring in the inside of this one that I was using. I went to stop it, and it just exploded internally.
I was going to say, it probably just like ripped the spring out. I can't imagine. I've never seen inside one of these. You can tell me from picking up the spring off the ground, but I can't imagine they're just like super robust.
Now,
you know what I mean?
You can get heavy duty ones. But most people don't, and they're really not. Like it's just a coiled metal spring, right? A flat piece of metal that's been coiled and twisted up that gives it that retractable, so it can go forward. But it's held together with plastic and and stuck together with more plastic. They're really not robust items. So the longevity there is just a lot. And then there's the fact of, when you have a standard 6-foot leash, you can have 2 points of contact on that. You have the loop and you have your other hand, right? If Chuck really started to get aggressive going in one way, you could put two, and you're like, whoa, I better, you could put 2 hands on it.
2 hands on this thing.
Whoa, and really brace.
Whoa. That was him whenever it was like, all right, time to finish our walk and go eat.
Whoa, hold on. You're like, okay, where you going? Put my blades on here and have you pull me back, bud.
Scampering down the road.
Yes. But if you have a dog, if you have a flexi lead, if you have a retractable leash, you only have 1 point of contact, which is the plastic handle. What do you reach for, right? If you reach for that little thin piece, you will get
a clothesline, right?
It's a clothesline. Some are cords.
Like
but
some
are flat,
though.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess there are some flat ones. I think I've seen some flat
ones. But here's what happens whenever you go to grab that. It collapses, and it basically becomes round. And at which point, it is just a nylon finger shredder at that point, where it just slice through your hand, because you try and break on that. You can't get a good purchase on that without it slipping.
The cord one would be worse, right?
Oh, yeah.
It just like burn. I can see the flat nylon one, but the nylon's so thin, right? It's not like a webbing,
right?
Because it won't roll that way.
Yes.
Right. So like, I don't know. The leash, just like the 6-foot webbing. I'm going to call it webbing. I don't think that's the actual correct, but it reminds me of the climbing webbing used for anchors.
Yeah.
Right. That's what it reminds me of.
Yeah. It's just a flat nylon leash, basically, or whatever.
But it's like the woven stuff.
Yeah.
We had the one that was like woven, so it was like thicker, That's why I keep saying webbing, because that's what it reminds me of.
Sure.
But like, it's easier to carry about, right? Like the retractable one is like cumbersome because it's a big, like, it reminds me of like 100-foot tape measure, that spools, what I'm talking about? Like the big ones that have the handle that you have to reel them in by. Like nobody likes using that thing because it's annoying and it's big and it's like in the way and it's hard to use, right? Like if you have to carry it around, even if you're going somewhere, you're like, oh, I'm going to go, we're going to take the dog here. I'm going to get the leash, right? Like grabbing a big giant plastic box and grabbing a piece of material. One of those things is definitely just easier to do than the other one. Right. Like,
well, it's storage wise. Also,
you can wear it like a bandolier, right?
Which
is just the fun part.
Which is the best part. I love doing that. Right. Obviously,
what you do.
I do that all the time. But yeah, because then what also it is that it's easier to inspect for damage. Again, talking about the internal systems of these things. Nobody is every month breaking this apart, oiling it, checking for rust, looking for breakages, replacing pieces of the retractable leash. But when you have the standard flat leash, the webbing, and it gets torn or gets faded or starts to, some of them dissolve, you go, oh, that's a sign that this is bad. I will get a new one. But you can't see the internal rusting or breakages happening in the other one. So
plus like on the big, just a flat leash, there's less points of failure anyway.
Yeah.
Because like, where is it? Unless you get it like caught on something and the dog like rubs it on stuff a lot, like it's not going to fail. Like there's only like one place that's going to fail, and that's where the loop on the end where it's stitched, where the little thing that hooks onto his collar is going to be. And every time you're using the leash, you're looking at that part.
Yeah.
So like,
yeah,
you know,
yeah, it's yeah. So we use company wide. We use something called a rescue rope lead. It's actually made of rope. I don't know what kind of rope it is, but it's beautiful rope, and I love the hand feel on this. It's nice and thick. It's not a little skinny thing. And the person who makes these leashes from it just does a marvelous job. And that's our go-to, because she makes them 12 feet long, but they have they have a clip on either end. So you just clip both clips at the same time to make it a standard 6-foot leash.
Okay. And it's like a hoop. Oh,
yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Or you can clip one in and you have a 12-foot long line, or you can like clip it back to half of itself and throw it over your shoulder so it becomes a hand-free leash. Like it's a lot.
Yeah, I was gonna say, can you just like clip it around you and just like, the clip's big enough to clip over the own rope, so it like slip knots around your waist or whatever. I don't know how you do that. Like,
yeah, it does. Yeah, I do it over my shoulder, so I just do one over my shoulder, so it goes across my chest like a bandolier.
So
but then it goes down. Yeah. Which helps. And then I also use that if I know I have a dog that's an escape artist. So now I can clip one end to their collar or to their harness, and then I can make the other one a slip lead and put it around their neck. So now I have 2 points of contact on the dog.
Oh,
so all of a sudden, and I still have 6 foot of rope. So I can still, it still makes it nice. When we do our adventure hikes, we use a true long line. It's for long lines. It's a shorter one, but that's because here in the Ozarks we go hiking in woods, so it's only
you can only go so far anyway.
Like having a 30-foot or 50-foot long line's a bit ridiculous when you're hiking up a little pass in the woods. So we use a 15-foot long line, but it's made of biothane, and biothane is an amazing material. It is stupendous. It's a rubberized mesh. So they have an internal webbing structure, and then they put this special coating of really durable rubber synthetics. It's not just
on the
rubber.
Outside.
Yeah, on the outside of it, and they coat it like that.
Yeah.
And man, it's so cool. I love this stuff. It's amazing, and I love that because it's super durable. You don't have to worry about it ripping or tearing. They've got a super long life. And we actually got that from a person. She hand makes these up in Canada. And
you've talked about this before, right? Whenever you started the adventure hike, yes, okay.
So yes, we use that biothane from her, and it's fantastic. But yeah, I mean, but they're standard, but they're all variations on a theme of just a standard leash, right? That's what they are. Like they're not
and rope.
Rope. It's literally rope and more rope, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, that's your PSA for the day. About
there you go. Use rope. Done.
Yes.
Got it. Figured it out. That's how the best way is the rope way. Wah, wah.
Wah. Ah. So yeah, so that blog will come out tomorrow, and we'll get to post that, and we'll just see. I love making trainers angry.
Okay, so like, yeah, I don't know. Like maybe if you're like the only thing you're doing is training the dog in like a small area and like whatever, but like still you'd want to use what you want to use walking, so you wouldn't want to like use 17 different leashes for the dog. It doesn't make sense either.
Because here's the other thing. Okay, a retractable leash. Here's people go, oh, I love retractable leash because the dog can just explore. But what behavior does this instill in a dog?
To not listen to you.
Well, to not listen
on the walk.
also pulling. A pulling behavior.
True, because it wants to go over there.
It wants to go over
there.
So
until it hits the end.
Exactly. But the dog doesn't know where that is, because the dog can keep, mentally, the dog's not like, is that 29 feet? Is that 30 feet?
No, the dog's not like,
has no idea.
7, 8, 9.
So having that close connection to you, they actually pick up on your body posture, your the secondary communication of of how you are tightening your hands on the leash and giving them immediate feedback. So if your dog has bad leash habits or is developing bad leash habits, one of the worst things you can do is put them on a retractable leash, because they will always pull. It encourages them to pull and explore because they don't know where those limits are. And so taking them from leash to leash to leash to leash to leash system is terrible, because they don't know. They're like, this is a retractable leash. You can walk far, right? That's not happening. It's not happening. They're smart.
I don't know. It probably wasn't I don't know if this is probably not like the best practice either, but like whenever we would let Chuck explore, like we would let him go wherever he wanted, but we would just follow him.
Yeah.
We just go with him.
Yeah.
And then whenever you want him to stop, you just stop. And it, again, small dog, not too difficult, right? But like, it's much easier to control the dog's, what the dog is doing if you're close to it, right? If the dog is way over there and it starts doing something you don't want it to do, what are you can do, right? Like you can't. Your options are very limited if you're 15 feet away from it, right? But if you're 4, you just kind of, and then like boom, boom, done.
The number of times I've been walking like around apartment complexes or even around a block, and I come across a blind corner because a privacy fence comes right up to the sidewalk in the corner, and a dog pops around that corner because they're on a retractable leash, right? And the owner is 17 feet behind them, and the dog's gone around the corner, but so like surprise encounters are a major problem with these.
The owner can't see what's happening around the corner, right?
No. Or what my personal favorite is when they live on the second or third floor of an apartment building that has direct access to the outside, so they go down that external stairwell. The person like second floor. Some of these retractable leashes are so long that the person will open their door, then stand at their door with the retractable leash and let their dog run down the stairs, like 1 flight, 2 flights down, to go to the little grass spot at the bottom of the stairs while they stand there with their retractable leash drinking their coffee.
This sounds insanely unsafe, right? I think that's the word I'm looking for here, is unsafe, right? Like that doesn't letting your dog like run down the stairs with a leash on. That's not,
well,
they stairs, man. Come on, just go outside.
I know. Oh, and they catch you off guard because you're just walking. You're like, it's a wonderful. It's barreling down the stairs at you.
Yeah,
and you're like, oh.
Fair. Yeah. That's rough.
So yeah, there's just a lot here, and again, I think the use cases are so narrow as to make them exclusionary to 99% of the population that actually uses them. Like that's where this comes down to. Of like, sure, can you? Yeah. Should you? Absolutely not. Right. That's where this falls.
Not. Yeah. That's fair. That makes sense. Ugh.
Quick side tangent. Update on
other side tangent. I heard the bird. Okay. Go ahead.
Yes. Okay. So see, it's proof, people. I can't mimic that. There's no way I could possibly play it on my phone.
No.
In the back shade garden, there's a goose. Okay. Remember the goose? Okay.
Yes, the Mimi goose. Yes.
The Mimi goose. Okay.
Yeah.
Dad was frustrated that it kept falling over, even though it supposedly had "quote unquote" weighted feet. Okay, so he would like lash it to a tree.
Stakes on it.
It did have stakes, but it then like
broke off, though.
It broke off, and it was unwieldy. So Dad.
Oh no!
Dad went full. How do you think your father solved this?
Well, there's a couple options. Number one, he attached it to like a 4-foot piece of rebar and just like embedded it in the ground, right? Like that's not out of the question. He filled it with concrete. I don't know what he do.
Okay.
I don't know.
So he did not fill it with concrete. However, he did set the feet in a block of concrete.
Did he really?
So he went full Mafia Don.
Yes.
set his feet in concrete. And so you look out and there's this goose statue, and you go down the little black legs, and there's just this hunk of square concrete sitting on top.
He didn't even like put the mulch over top of it. Like
he did not try
up there.
He did not.
Come on, Dad, what is that? That's his laziness. What are you doing?
So it just, you're like, okay, that was a solution.
It's a plan. He could do other things like put it away.
No,
not leave it in the garden. You know, if it's that big of a problem, like just go throw it in the barn, get rid of it. It's okay. Like,
you know, have goose, you got to use it. That's
is that the axiom?
That is.
No.
Yes, if you have goose, must use. Yeah.
Goose must use.
Have goose, must use. That's going on the t-shirt.
I like it. Along with the Morse code ahoy just across the front. That'd be
dots and dashes.
Yes.
Yeah. Next time you're up, you have to listen to this vinyl. I'm telling you, we'll listen to that, and we'll make pasta. We'll make pasta, and
yes,
it'll be perfect.
It's gonna be something.
So are you fully adapted to summer life yet?
Getting there. Right. Been just doing lots of housework. We've been toiling about, faffing about, as I say, because Susan went back to work. Summer school started this week, so Susan has gone back because Susan is the librarian for summer school, and I am not. So hanging out at home, doing stuff, doing cleaning things, and just kind of tinkering around, playing video games, reading various and sundry things. Right. However, I was helping her do a thing the other day, and I have discovered a solution. Right. The internet has taught me something this week, and I want to share it with the listeners because I feel like this is important. Okay, this is important information that everybody needs to have. Okay. So I have come across a solution online. Sorry, I can't credit the source because I don't remember where it came from. Okay. Some crafty lady on the internet, I think. I have discovered a methodology in which you can much more easily remove labels from glass jars. Gasp.
Oh,
the bane of everyone's existence.
Yeah.
Right? You're like, I need to keep this jar to put stuff in. Obviously, if your name is like Dad, right? You need a glass jar for things, but you don't want the pasta sauce label or the salsa label still stuck on the bottle.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. So previously one would soak in water, right? And try and do that, right?
And then like vainly scrub at it with a cloth or like a kitchen scraper, like something, right? However, wise, crafty ladies on the internet have informed me. Here's what I did to see, because she needed some glass jars for some of her crafts at school for the library kids. So here's what happened. Okay. Hot water in the sink. Okay.
Hot water.
So I got a bunch of hot water, filled up one side of the sink. Not all the way, just like a little bit, right? Just enough to submerge the jar. Okay. Then dish soap and white vinegar.
And
zhuzh it up in there. Leave it for like 30 minutes. Label comes right off.
Really?
Boom.
Huh.
Yeah. Yeah. I was like, there's no way that works. Psh, whatever. That's not going to work. That's too easy.
Yeah.
I was astounded. It just like scraped right off. Like, it was like, what?
And left no residue behind?
What is this?
What's that magic?
Now, one of them came off no problem. I just used like a washcloth and just like rubbed it, and it just like ripped all the stuff off, and it was completely fine. There was another one that left a lot of residue, right? So, crafty lady told me what to do. She said,
so she even said, hey, here's a method that will work. But if this method doesn't work,
yeah, if one of the jars is like super gluey, because sometimes they're like, really? Whatever glue they use, it's like, no, I am never coming off this jar.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know if you're ready for this. Baking soda and olive oil. You sort of like make a little paste, like just a little bit of olive oil, baking soda, like make a paste, and I just like spread it on the jar. Again, leave it for like 20 minutes. I rinsed it off. All gone.
What?
Yeah. I was astounded. I was like, what? What? Because that one, I was definitely like, there's no way that works. Like the vinegar soap one, okay, that kind of makes sense. I could see, but like baking soda and cooking oil. Like she used some different oil. I had olive oil just sitting here, so I was like, I'll just use that.
Yeah.
I sort of like stirred it up a little bit and sort of like rubbed it on there with the spoon and just set it in the sink for like 20 minutes. Or rinse it with like cold water and a little sponge, and it just completely clean.
Okay.
I have no words. I was just like, Susan came home and she was like, "What'd you do today?" I was like, "Magic." I have done magic. Behold, my witchcraft. I was so. So there you go.
It really truly is, though, right? Like, wow.
It really is. This is my whole life, right? I'm almost 40 years old. My whole life, getting labels off of jars has been like the ultimate struggle.
Yeah. Does it just work for glass jars, or would it work for like other surfaces? Well, I guess it's hard to soak other surfaces for like 30 minutes, but like plastics and other things like that.
Yeah, it's hard to soak for other. Yeah, I'm not sure. This is just the one I decided to pick because there's other methods. Like I know if you have stuff with like stickers, right, and you need to get the sticker off, and you don't want to get the residue on there. If you like rub a little bit of lighter fluid on it, it just eats it off there. But that's not really practical. And it's not really just useful to just have lighter fluid laying around for that reason only.
Well, I mean, depending on what what kind do you live?
Yeah, this. Yeah, so this worked for removing some labels off of jars. It did 4 jars.
Mm.
It worked.
Yeah, it definitely seems like a batch kind of solution.
Yeah, it's much easier to do it. Yeah, you want to save up. You don't want to do like one at a time. That's like an impractical use of resources. Wasting too much vinegar. Be too bad. But like, I don't know if it would work for plastic. Like if you want the bottle, like the label off of like a plastic bottle. I don't know. I mean, it'd probably work. I don't know. I don't see any reason the vinegar would have an adverse effect on the plastic. But unconfirmed whether or not it works on plastic bottles. But for glass ones, worked a treat. A treat, I say.
Yeah, so because I'm picturing okay, name a movie where this type of information is useful. I don't know why I remember this, but in the movie,
Holes. I don't know.
Holes. No. It's Catch Me If You Can, where he removes
the labels. I was thinking about storing things in jars.
Oh
right?
no,
I was definitely holes with the onions. But yes,
yeah.
Catch Me If You Can. It's kind of You know what? You do feel a bit DiCaprio-y, right?
Yeah,
watching it lift off the surface in the check washing thing, right?
Yeah. Did you apply them to a fake check? To then go cash?
I did not. I applied them to the garbage can.
Okay.
Because it was just a crumpled wad of like soggy paper. Yeah.
Well, fair enough. Fair enough.
One of the jars, I will say, it had like plastic, kind of like a film over the outside of the paper. So I left it in the sink for a little bit, and I peeled the plastic right off, and I let it sit some more, and then the paper came off like way. It was like a 2-stage process, but still, wizardry was achieved because I I was like, there's no way. I've tried like all kinds of stuff. Like, people are like, oh yeah, just put some rubbing alcohol on it. No, doesn't work. Right.
Yeah.
Like try nail polish remover. Doesn't work. Acetone won't touch some of that glue. I don't know what it's made out of.
Yeah.
But that acetone will not touch it at all. And the baking soda and olive oil.
That's
just
wild.
Disintegrated it right off.
Wow. I'm sensing a new science project to have your students test different combinations of things to remove.
Well, that sounds like a bad idea. We talk in science about, when you're cleaning your house, don't mix your cleaners.
Yeah.
Okay? I know it sounds like a good idea.
Right.
Like, oh, this one cleaner didn't get it all the way clean. I'll use a second cleaner. No, do not do that.
Fair. Yeah.
I struggle because I want to tell them what will happen, but I also don't want to tell them how to make it happen. Right? This is the immortal quandary of a science teacher, right? You'd be like, listen, this is really dangerous. You can make in your house chlorine gas.
Right.
A thing that is banned by the Geneva Conventions.
Right. Yeah.
Right. They're how do you do it? I'm not going to tell you.
I can't tell you. I know that sounds really cool. It's not supposed to. It's dangerous, right?
It's dangerous. You will just die. So
yeah.
Well, how do we know how not to do it? I was like, you just don't do it.
One product.
Don't mix your cleaners
at a time, right?
And you'll be fine.
Yeah. Keep all products separate.
Yeah.
When using.
Read the directions. I know nobody reads directions, specifically sixth graders, right? But I'm telling you, if you read the directions on your cleaning solution, it will say do not mix with other products.
Yeah.
There's a reason for that. Because all sorts of terribly unexciting things can happen if you do that.
Yeah.
Right? It's very bad.
Oh, yeah. Reading labels is important. I think one of the first times that was impressed upon me was when I was taking shop class. Oh gosh, who was a shop teacher? His name,
very important. Kugler? Do you have Kugler?
Kugler? Yes.
Okay.
In middle school. He's a middle school shop teacher? Yes.
Yeah. Because before that I had what was this? Beasley. Okay. Yeah. But I think I had him 7th grade and then 8th grade it was Kugler, maybe. Anyway. Okay. Continue.
Anyway, I remember him showing us we were learning about the drill press and this stuff, and he just casually grabbed a spray can bottle and was like, read the label. And it was one of the first times, I've used spray cans before, but actually looking at it, there's a section on there that tells you don't put this under a drill press. And I remember at the time being like, why would anybody do that? Why would you have to tell people not to do that? But he was like, it's on there because people did that. And it's bad to do that. So don't.
Imagine having a pressurized canister.
Yeah.
And then it becoming depressurized instantaneously.
It was sometimes one of those moments in my life where you just kind of you see a little bit more of the world, right? Where you're like, oh, okay. When you're growing up, you have those moments where you just see just a little bit more behind the curtain of the greater world around you. And this is definitely a definitive moment in my life, and being like,
that's true.
Oh, okay. that the broader humanity here.
It's like when you read about those lists of laws, funny laws in each state, and you realize that there's a law in Florida that you can't tie an alligator to a fire hydrant, and you have to make this. You realize, wait, that means somebody tied an alligator to a fire hydrant.
Yes, and something bad happened, right? Yes.
Yeah, you realize. Wait, hold on. Why? Or there's just weird ones, right? When you read those lists, you're like, haha, this is funny. But then your brain clicks over and goes, somebody did that. That's why this is written down here.
Yeah. Somebody did that and got hurt.
Did that.
Or right?
Why?
That's
oh no.
Somebody, yeah. I think about that more broad, more personally. Let's bring it home here about a little bit of like, I'm not a huge risk taker. I tend to be more reserved in those things. But as I've gotten older, it's mostly because, I don't want to have to put those like something on a form while I'm getting, care or reporting to the police. It's like, no. Like, so now it's
tell
like,
me,
okay,
sir, what happened? Well,
exactly.
You're not going to believe this. But
I had this alligator, right? Right. It's like no. Like anytime I just run that past the form test, and I'm like, would this look good on a form, like out of context? Like, no. Okay. There
sir,
we go.
why were you? Can you explain to me again why the mule was in the bathtub? Like, okay,
like,
let me start over.
Whoa. Okay. I think I lost you there. Now, you see the thing here. Exactly. Like, it's just, so I think it's a good rule to live by. Like, just think about, like, if I had to report this on a form, like if I was sitting in the ER filling out paperwork, would I want to write this down? If not, maybe don't do it. Right.
That's true. Right. Don't. Yeah. The form law. Yeah, we're going to call that. It should be an internet rule, like the form law. So, for example, I was just doing some Googling while you were speaking. Did you know that in Missouri, it is illegal to drive with an uncaged bear? There you go. There's some information for you.
Again, it's important to like really think about the context that this came up.
Yeah. Why? Why? What? I just don't. I don't know. It's because.
But then you go, okay, I have this bear. Like, okay, I have a cage. I can just, it's like how quickly that becomes legal.
Right. Totally fine.
Like,
probably not totally fine.
It's like you can't transport a bear. It's just like, make sure it's covered. And you're like, oh, that's terrifying.
Make sure it's caged. No
and I guarantee
bears here.
I guarantee you that is not a law that they have revisited and really refined, because
that's true.
Part of the process of making a law is you make one, it gets challenged in court, they refine it, or they have to change the language, or they make amendments. Like, I wonder how many amendments are in the uncaged bear transport law. Like,
also like the reason that some of these show up too is like these were a law that they were written in like 1860, and then nobody revisited them ever, and like most people don't even know they exist. They just showed up in an audit one year, and then somebody put them on the internet. Like, bro, that's weird. Look at that.
Yeah,
like that's
yeah.
But they're just sitting there, like just obsolete law, because our government doesn't function just swimmingly all the time, right? Where they're like,
shocking.
They don't do things like
that. It's
review things they've done before, and
they're perfect every time.
Yeah. Oh, right. Yeah. One and done, baby. Right. These laws just sit around for forever, and even though they're like obsolete, and sometimes they reference things that you're like, what? Like, no, it's just still there because nobody has the time or effort to do anything about it. So there's just these weird random things that are like.
Because if they went and revisited the bear transportation law, right? They're going to go, do we take this off the books or do we keep it? And they're going to be like, why would we take off the bear transportation law? Like, we don't want people with bears in their beds of their trucks, right? We can't have that.
That is true.
Right. So then, do I really want my lawmakers spending their time debating about what structural integrity of a cage is required? And like,
it's fair. It might be more useful than some of the things they talk about. So like,
fair enough. Maybe they look at the agenda for that session and go, you know what? This is the time we.
Yeah, they're a little light on work, instead of just taking a break, right? Just
really hammer out those cage dimensions.
Hammer that out.
What tensile steel of strength we need. How many points? Oh, can you imagine?
Although it's. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Could you imagine the testimony? Because a lot of these laws, they come before like a committee, and they have the experts give testimony about that. Like, I'm a bear transportation expert. Like, here's what my recommendations are. Like, oh, I would watch that.
I mean, you just gotta call the Department of Conservation, right? The dudes that like move nuisance bears around
and build those traps.
Call some experts in from like Wyoming. Although this law, right? Although sounding silly, because we have not had bears in Missouri for a very long time, they're back. So, this law might need to be enforced more rigorously.
More relevant than ever, I would say.
More relevant than ever, really. There was a bear like just close to here, not too long, like this week. It was just like in a tree.
Yeah.
In the town around here. They were just like, it's a bear. Oh no.
While not bear related, Dad took Megan and the kids to see Little House on the Prairie town out.
Oh yeah, Mansfield.
Mansfield,
yeah.
Got it. So there are a couple.
Did he find it this time?
Yeah, they did.
Okay.
There are a couple different parts of this compound. Apparently, there's the forward part, and then you're supposed to take a trail or take a drive back to the back part of it to see more stuff. They were not allowing attendants to walk the path to the back because of a mountain lion with her cubs in the area. that had been encountering people who were making the path not nearly like last week. So they were like, look, if you want to go back to the other house, you have to drive. Like, we were not going to allow you to walk.
Oh my.
Yeah. So
what a surprising turn of events that is. That's not very exciting. That's not what you want.
They were like, oh, is it closed? And they're like, no, mountain lion. It's like, oh, what? Come again? It was great.
Not a sentence you expect to hear in the Missouri Ozarks, right? Closed due to mountain lion, right? Not really like just what you were expecting. That's a shocker, right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
I know. It's really truly is. It's like, wow, these landscapes have changed. Yeah, we have bears, mountain lions now, elk.
Well, we've acknowledged that mountain lions exist. That's a big change.
Yes.
Right.
Previously, they were just what, young males coming out of Tennessee, like
something like that,
marauding,
right? And people would send in this footage to like the Missouri Department of Conservation. They'd be like, "I captured a mountain lion," and the MDC would be like, "No, you didn't." You're like, I saw one." You're like, "No, you didn't. There's no mountain lions here." Like, dude, I saw one, right? Like, my friend saw one, like, turkey hunting when we were in high school.
I remember this conversation.
Like, no, there's no mountain lions here. He was like, dude, I saw it.
Yeah.
Like, it was a bobcat. He was like, no. Bobcats are bigger than you expect. Not this big.
Not that big. Yeah. Also, that not
tail.
The color. Yeah. Right. And tail. Yeah. Listeners may be shocked to learn that the government. Okay. Again, we're not in a conspiracy corner here, but they were there was a talking point, and it was stuck to for years longer than it really should have been. And it was very obvious, where it was like, no, here's like a video of it walking, and like, here's one with cubs, and like, here's another one. But they're like, no, they're not here. They're definitely not. These are just, they're all transitory. They're coming and going. They don't live here. Like,
yeah, it is so bizarre. Like, here is a mountain lion. There are no mountain lions in Missouri. Like, this is a picture of a mountain lion taken in Ozark. I'm like, no, it wasn't. Like, what? Yes. Just like the denial of existence. Like, no, mountain lions are real. There's no such thing as mountain lions. Like, guys, come on.
Statewide gaslighting.
Yeah, just like gaslighting me about mountain lions. Like, no, they're not. That's not really a mountain lion. That's just a house cat. This camera's just bad. You have no, like, depth perception. Like, there's nothing in this picture to tell the size of a thing. That's just a tabby cat. Like,
no, I will.
That is a.
I will say, now they also have to deal with just the general public. And when the elk were getting reintroduced, I don't know if you heard the story, but like during deer season, a guy called in, and he was calling in for what he thought was the world record whitetail. And And it was because he had shot an elk. And the NBC agent showed up and was like, oh my God. Like, oh no. Like, dude. And this was years before, because they just opened up elk season, like, what, 2 years ago, maybe?
Yeah.
And this was like 10 years ago, right when the whole thing was, or maybe longer than that, when it was getting off the ground, and one had strayed, and some guy shot it and was like, look at this whitetail, holy crap. And it was like, nope.
Yeah, first of all, it distresses me greatly that you can't tell that that's not a white-tailed, right? Like, white-tailed deer can be big. Elk are enormous, right? Like, it's like a 700-pound animal. They're like, it's a deer. Like, no, dude. No.
Yes.
Also, again, since the Missouri Department of Conservation, the wildlife, they don't have the best record of communicating with people about where stuff is. Like, so some dudes probably didn't even know that there were elk in Missouri, right? And they're just like, what the heck is that?
Yeah, they're just like, oh, there we go. So, there's reason to be suspect of people self-reporting things. However, when the preponderance of evidence is before you with like samples and like a body and videos and multiple eyewitness accounts, and they're just like, it's like, okay, well, anyway.
Yes. Huh?
So, goodness.
Indeed.
Oh.
The guy. Other update from last week. Update on your boy, Mr. Cook, running guy, Africa running boy.
Yes.
New video released today. Running with food poisoning. How fun is that sound to you?
Oh,
have you ever wondered what would happen to a person if they ran 30 Ks with food poisoning? If you guessed wild delirium and extreme fatigue, you guessed correctly.
No. That sounds wretched.
It does indeed.
Absolutely horrid.
Checked his Twitter today. It's like, still alive, boys. Like, all right,
still alive, boys. Holy crap.
He's almost made it all the way across Namibia. Look at that. Getting ready to go to Angola. To go.
Fun times.
Yes. I mean, less deserts.
Fair.
That's probably good.
Less deserts always. I would say less deserts always good, but the desert is a fair place to be. It's fine. It's fine.
I mean, at least when you're in the desert, there's like nothing else that is going to get you.
Yeah, except, Mother Nature.
I mean, yeah, but like
snakes.
You only have to worry about the desert.
Right.
Because there's like nothing else there.
Yes.
Like, is there any other animals? Not really. Is there any people? Not really. Is there?
Yeah.
Is there any hills for that matter? Not really. So
Pretty
like
straight shot. That's a good point.
Yeah. So like, there's that. So the amount of things to worry about, like wild animals, people of ill intent, right? Like the number of things to worry about goes up exponentially, right? Like, oh look, a jungle. Oh, who knows what's gonna be there, right? Like,
yeah, literally everything.
Literally everything. Now that I say that, something I hadn't considered until just right this second: bugs.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, until like, now stopping on the side of the road at night, hanging out with the lanterns and this stuff, chilling, grilling, making food, resting outside in the chair comfortably in a more tropical setting.
No go.
This is not possible, right?
No.
Like, so the biggest threat, once again, not hostile people, not, snakes, not whatever. It's malaria, right? Like,
yeah.
It's malaria.
It's our good friend, malaria.
It's your friend, mine, the malaria, right? And so, like, really, I hadn't considered this at all till just right now, but the peril of all the African travels, right, is potentially getting to a place where it's going to rear its ugly head and be like, surprise, sucker, it's me. Like, so I don't know how much quinine he has in his little van.
Yeah.
But.
Or, yeah. I mean, the diseases aspects, like, we've been thinking about, the being eaten or, being, I don't know, abducted as a prisoner, these things.
Old, right? Like,
yeah. But really going, like, actually, it's going to be the same boring stuff
that's going to be the mosquito, right?
Always gets you.
Going to be malaria. In Africa, it's most likely malaria. Could be some other exciting things, right? But like malaria is no joke.
Yeah.
And it's serious. And it just, like, even today in 2023, it just straight up kills people. Just does. That's just how it is. So, thinking about like running long distance, probably not, plus he's just been sick already. So like nutrition is not there, right? Immune system compromised, already not doing great, dehydrated, definitely. Blood sugar, probably a mess, right? Running into mosquito territory. This is bad news. I'm worried about old Russ. That's what I'm going to say. Worried about our boy Russell. Okay, good.
Yeah, not coming to this strong.
Hope you got your shots, buddy.
Well, yeah. I mean, they do have certain requirements for overseas travel. But
yeah, and traveling to a lot of those nations require like vaccinations for that stuff.
Yeah,
but
still,
people get it anyway, right?
Yes.
Because some of that stuff is so gnarly, right? Like it's so nuts. I was reading this book, right? Sorry, tangent here. I was reading a book called. Hold on. I'm going to turn around briefly to look at my bookshelf because it's behind me because I want to make sure I get the title right. Okay, I'm back. The Species Seekers.
Species.
Right? So it's all about like, it's all about kind of the turn of the century exploration and like the beginning of like Linnaean classifications and all that kind of stuff, right? And it's got a lot of like little stories in there about like all the way from like Darwin all the way up to like later, mid 1900 stuff. And the end part is all about like when they, after germ theory and stuff starts to become recognized, like the malaria and like the mosquitoes and stuff. And like when they discovered that like how the virus transports itself through the mosquitoes, and then that is like a necessary part of the life cycle of malaria. It's like insane, right?
Yeah.
Like the way the mosquito has like developed in its little proboscis. There's like a little slit in it, and that is where the malaria lives. It just sort of lines up in there, kind of like bullets, or like like they're just like loaded in there, kind of like I don't know. I think about the droids in the Star Wars Episode 1, the battle droids, how they're all like locked in the tank. It's kind of like that. They're just sort of like lined up in there, and every time the mosquito bites something, it's just like go, like. It's really distressing to think about, right? Like,
not a pleasant one. They're just all like locked and loaded, ready to kill you, basically. Oh, fun. Well, joy of joys.
Yeah. So we'll continue following.
I'm
our boy. Well, we should tag him. We should tag him in this episode.
Okay.
What's up, Russ? Just continue to follow along, hoping all is well, hoping food poisoning goes away, hoping malaria does not strike.
Right.
Because that would be real bad. Like,
yeah.
Or any other sort of like fun exotic illness, right? Like dengue fever. Oh, that's a
for sure.
Yeah, that's bad.
Yeah, that'd be real.
That's a bad one.
That'd be real bad.
Yeah, real bad.
Huh.
Yeah.
Well, something to keep an eye on. Oh,
Indeed.
Okay. Well, speaking of books, we have a list to look at. I think
we do. This is the biggest one I could find.
I think it's really good.
So I went with that one.
Okay.
I felt that's good.
Yeah. 50. I'll include the article. 50 on Stacker.
There's 50. There's a lot.
50.
Yeah. Some of these, I feel like there's a lot of them that are like Shakespeare. So I figure we can just cut those out. Number one, I think I've read all of them.
And
that's the other problem. The problem I was having with these lists, and the reason that I talked to Colin offline a little bit was, I was like, and last week we talked about it a little bit too, right? It was like, what criteria do you want? Because I've read a lot of these now, and so I'm not sure.
Yeah, yeah. Well, so we ran into
through here, right? Like
we've read a lot of these, So I'm knowing that
I hate Oscar Wilde, and so I just won't read anything by.
Right. Well, that's why we were going to read not Great Gatsby. It was Catcher in the Rye for Aaron. Is that the one that we need to read for him, or is it?
No, Aaron doesn't like Great Gatsby.
Great Gatsby.
I think one of the only ones on this list I haven't read is Catcher in the Rye. Actually,
yeah. Well, and then some of these, as I was scrolling,
and then we lied to Aaron and told him that we picked.
Oh yes, yeah. And then, then some of these I was scrolling and I was like, I was like, oh, I got to 1984, and I was like, nah, I don't want to read that right now. Like, I don't.
There's also some of these that just like that's true too, right? We have to think about like there are some of these that are quite heavy, and I'm just not interested in dealing with that, right?
Yes,
the world is tough enough right now without me reading like in 1984. Right?
Yeah, or Brave New
like
World.
Animal Farm. Right?
Yeah,
I've read those already, but like, this is not the time and place to be reading Brave New World. I just don't want to do that. Right? Call me what you will, but I feel like that's just not what I need in my life right now.
Mm-hmm. Not. Yeah, it's like Flowers for Algernon. Like yeah, I mean, so where was it? I was looking through this the other day, and or not the other day. You literally sent it today, so I
sent it like Monday, baby.
Oh, that's right. Or,
yeah. I sent it over the weekend. I can't remember when.
Yeah, and there's so many Billy Shakespeare's on here. Yeah,
there is, but I mean, then unless you want to read some more Billiam, I feel like a lot of those I know we've read because, like, I think in high school you're required to read basically all of them.
All of them,
like,
yes,
yeah.
I really I had two here, and
okay.
So, and I don't know how fair one of them is. So I had two that stood out to me, and I think one of them is just because it's like literally right at my wheelhouse, and I read this book exactly once, and then but it's something that's really stuck with me, and I do remember enjoying it, but it's been a long time. And then the other one, I mean, both of them, what I just said, it goes for both of these books. So I'll just go ahead and say the two that were on my list were actually Frankenstein, the 1818 text, or we can find some variation of it. It says the 1818 text on this. We can find one by Mary. Okay. And then the other one, I think because it's just, I went for like one that I know I'm going to enjoy, and that like that's not going to be like a kind of one, is actually The Hobbit. Now I know that's like you're on a big Tolkien kick and lots of things, and that might be a little too on the nose for what we do here, but I will say that those two really stuck out to me as far as like those would be, I think, both really enjoyable, even though Frankenstein is a very weird enjoyable thing, but it's like in the grand scheme of things it's like it's fun. So anyway, that's where my brain went for both of those.
I would criticize you and tell you that you're taking the easy road and all that stuff, except for that's basically where my mind went as well. I was very similar on there. Like I was reading this list, and like I said, like there's some that are quite like, I'm just not, I don't really feel like this show is the best place to be tackling some of these issues on here, because we're all about like lightheartedness and fun. And even though we did The Outsiders, right, it's like coming of age, and we found some things to be joyous about there, right? Like so
egg sandwiches.
Like it's just like egg sandwiches, right? That's also side note, I put some of that sweet chili sauce on my egg sandwich this morning. But this is life changing material. Okay, I put Thai sweet chili sauce on my egg sandwich, just like a little bit.
Yeah.
It's delicious. It's amazing. All right. Anyway. So like I feel like just like thematically, there is some things that just like don't fit our vibe. You know what I mean?
Well,
and so like
quick comment on that. This is the title of this is 50 classics from almost everyone's high school reading list. 47 of these are like mega depressing, like heavy things.
I mean,
like,
yeah, they're all like, I mean, I read a bunch of these in high school, right?
Yeah.
You know, it's not just a happy, fun book to be reading your freshman year. Lord of the Flies, right? That's just like a fun time, right? So like,
we're like, their eyes were watching God. Oh, it tackles issues of racism, sexism, segregation. It's like, oh, wow, that's okay. Yeah, Oedipus Rex. Like,
all just very important. Very important things to discuss and have opinions on and stuff. But like, I feel like just like where I'm at personally in my life and like the world state and like my feelings on things, like I feel like now is not the time, and it's just sort of not on brand for us, right? Like being like mega serious and like very stoic and things like that. It's just kind of like not what we do. Like even our boy that we talk about all the time, old John Steinbeck, right? Like stuff's good, but some of it's like, is that really what we want to be doing right now? So, and then of course, Hamlet, obviously.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was thinking similar lines, right? Plus, there's some books on here that I haven't read before, like a lot of the stuff by like Jane Austen and the Bronte sisters. I haven't read any of that stuff, but like it's also like really long.
Yes.
And so like,
yeah.
That's the other thing to take into consideration with this is like just time management and stuff like that. Cause I know like you're real busy and all that stuff. And so like some of that stuff I do want to read in the future, but like, I don't think right now is the time for like a 600-page epic, about that. Cause I haven't read it. That's a blind spot for me, right? Like Jane Austen stuff is, and like, I think that's not good because I think it's like so ingrained in popular culture. Like
it is.
Everything references Jane Austen.
Yes. Yeah.
And so like I do need to read this at some point because from what I hear, people that like it, they say it's like actually funny, right? Like there's like funny stuff in there and it's like important stuff, but like I just don't. I have time constraints for this time. They're a bit long. So we'll keep those on the radar for the future. So I am fine with either one of those. I think either one of those two sounds good to me.
Okay. Okay. Well, I think we may throw this to Aaron to see if he has a say. Okay. I'm personally leaning more towards Hobbit right now, but that's just me.
Again, it's okay. So like, again, if we're going thematically, summertime reading.
Yes.
Frankenstein is not the first thing that I think. What? If we were doing fall reading list.
Oh, we'll do our spooktacular book review. There we go.
Right.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, I feel like that. Okay, so like the thing that would be fun with Frankenstein, and the reason it would be fun to do is like we could read eventually. This is like okay, future talking to future us here, right? So like, it is possible to like if we read that, like we also have just like a lot of other experience because there's like 50 billion different like movie versions of that story.
Yeah.
One of which is Young Frankenstein, which is hilarious,
The best one.
And so I think there's the opportunity for a lot more like cross media discussion in that area,
that's fair.
Right?
Yeah.
Which it could be like fun. It could be like a big thing, right? So we could table that one if you just want to do the Hobbit. I have a copy of the Hobbit right here. It's right there.
Look at that.
Pointing at it right now. Look at that. Bonus points because I already own that book.
Yeah, I had a copy of Frankenstein. I don't know where that is. Oh, it's long gone. But yes. Okay, so I'm down for that. For sure. I just we can set up a reading schedule for that. Okay.
Sounds good to me. Kabam!
Look at that. Look at that. That was
we did a thing. We made a decision.
Aha.
In and of itself. Groundbreaking.
Massively.
Massively groundbreaking.
Fine. Everything's fine.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, and we'll start that soon, I guess.
Soon. Yeah. We'll talk about that because I realize I'm going to be out of town in 2 weeks.
What?
So, yeah, we have to talk about that as well.
Oh,
I'll tell you the dates later. But like, I'm going to be on the East Coast for like a week. So,
okay. Well, yeah. Okay. We'll.
It's like weirdly like a Tuesday through a Tuesday. So like, we might have to like figure something out.
Okay. Well, we can do a back.
It's actually
okay. We'll do that later. So yes. Well, that's exciting.
Like if we're doing a book, we could like have a backup episode, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
That's how
we have to record like double time.
Yes. That's what we're doing.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'll text you later with the dates and stuff on that. But
perfect. Yeah, and then we'll set up a plan and get
all right.
Get that rolling. Okay. That sounds. Look how productive all this was. Oh, and there's a bat.
Because I was thinking about that today. I was like, this whole time I've been like, I'm not. Oh, nice. This whole time I've been like, I'm not leaving till June. It's not a big deal. And then I was like, tomorrow. June.
It's
like it's not been a big deal until like right now. Like
yeah,
like
I understand how that goes. Look, I've got loads of time.
Things. Yeah.
Oh no, I don't. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, cool.
And then it was gone.
Yeah. And then time. What time? Yeah. Perfect. Okay. Well, yeah. We'll sort all that out. That sounds good.
Exactly.
Okay. Well, we'll do that. Okay. Love you.
Alrighty. Love you too.
Bye.
Bye.